Hey there, I'm Johnny May from Piano with Johnny, and today I'm going to teach you my gospel stride groove from my gospel groove series. And this is a really fun gospel groove to play. Check it out. As you can hear, it is a lot of fun to play, and this is an intermediate level lesson. So if you're on the early or the later side of intermediate level, you're going to be just fine. So let's go ahead and start the lesson. Okay, so I actually want to start by showing you this chord progression because I always feel like, before you start to play grooves, you kind of need to understand the chords behind the groove, because once you understand the chords, it's much easier to learn the groove, okay? So here is the chord progression. And it's actually a very repetitive chord progression. So once you learn the basic progression, you pretty much have like the whole thing down. There's just a few more chords at the end. So we're in the key of A flat major. And here's what I want you to do. Let's just run through these chords. But we're going to play a big A flat major chord. And let's play it like this. By the way, the red dot here is middle C. And we're going to do a big fat A flat major chord. This is C, E flat, A flat, and C. Okay? That is a big first inversion A flat chord, and that's how we're playing the A flat. And we can use big octaves here on the A flat. And go ahead and play that with me. And just get kind of comfortable with this position. You can also use your forefinger here. Look at my fingering, the ring finger on the A flat, or you can use the third finger. It's kind of up to you. The second chord is a C7, C dominant 7. And the notes here are C, E, and B flat. Now normally a C7 would have a G in the chord, but it's very common to omit the fifth of the chord. So we're taking out the G, okay? So there's your C7. And then this is a leading chord. This leads you to an F minor, okay? And this is just a straight F minor chord. C, F, A flat. And this is a pretty good fingering here. Thumb, index, and then you can use ring finger, you can use your third finger, and then a big fat D flat major chord. And when you play gospel music, you want to go for big fat chords. You want to reach for ninths and tenths and clusters. Very common here. So we're going for a big D flat major. This is A flat, D flat, F, and A flat. Okay? There's a second inversion D flat chord. We have D flats on the bottom. Okay? And those are your four chords. Those are kind of going to repeat the whole time. So you really got to know these, and let's review them again here. Okay? A flat major, C7, F minor, okay? And then D flat major. And you'll notice something kind of cool, and that is the right hand doesn't really have to move that much, right? When you go from that A flat chord to the C7, it's pretty nearby, right? And then F minor, check that out. That's really close by as well. And then your D flat major is very close by. And this is actually something that I want you to do as a pianist when you're playing grooves, is look for chords, inversions, such that you don't have to jump around to the chord. We're using inversions, which means that we can sort of stay in the same position. Before we move on and talk about the groove, I want to talk about why this progression works, right? Why does A flat, to C7, right, lead to F minor and then to D flat major? Well, if you look at the fundamental progression, you're really sort of going A flat, right, to an F minor to a D flat major, right? That C7 is kind of a passing chord, right? It's a dominant chord, and there's a sort of rule in music where 5 leads to 1, right? And usually the 5 is a dominant chord. And so if you think of the F minor as think of it like a 1 chord, well, C7 leads to an F minor, right? 5, 1. And this might be a little bit easier to see, but 5, 1. You see that? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? So it kind of leads you there. And then this is just a relative chord to our F minor, right? Shares a lot of common tones. So chord progressions, there aren't a whole lot of rules to chord progressions. In other words, you can sort of put certain chords next to other chords and make them sound pretty cool. But there are certain chord progressions that are more common in certain styles, and this is one that is definitely more common in the gospel style, and it's an important progression for you to know. The other thing I want you to think about is the chord degrees. We can think, when we think of jazz and when we think in terms of gospel music, I want you to think about chords in terms of their scale degrees. So we're in the key of A flat major. I want you to think of this as the 1 chord, okay? And then your C7, well, that's built on the 3rd degree of A flat major. So that is a 3 chord, right? 1, 2, 3, 3rd degree of an A flat scale. F minor is built on the 6th degree, so that's a 6 chord. And then D flat major is built on the 4th degree of the A flat major scale, so it's a 4 chord. So jazz musicians, and I would definitely consider this a jazz, under the umbrella of jazz. I want you to think in terms of 1, 3, 6, 4. And the reason we do that is because if you think in terms of scale degrees, 1, 6, 2, 4, it allows you to play in multiple keys. Because if you know the scale behind each key, then you can find that 1, that 3, that 6, and that 4 chord. So just as you're playing this, think in terms of 1, 6, or rather 1, 3, 6, 4. Okay, let's talk about the groove here. And this is a fun groove. I want to show you the right hand first, okay? So here's the right hand. Man, that is a cool groove. That's just fun to play. I can just play that, all day. So here's what we're doing. We're actually striking that A flat chord like I showed you. And then you're going to do this. You see that? That's a G, middle finger. So you're going to hit that and then punch your C7 twice. Okay? Let's do that together. So A flat major. And then you go G, punch it twice. Not bad. Okay, let's look at the next part. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so what we're doing here is we're striking the F. You see that? Striking the F, and then you're going ba ba on the F minor. Okay? So what I do here is I just hit the C and the A flat by itself. Make sense? Not too hard to play. And that's going to be twice on your F minor chord. This is the same chord I showed you earlier, but just keep in mind it's an F minor. Now for the D flat chord, we're going to hit that twice, right? So 1, 2, and that's it. Not too hard to play. Not too hard to play at all. Okay? So we're going to do this whole 2-measure phrase. Keep in mind we're going to be working in terms of small phrases here, because I want you to sort of get the little pieces. In fact, this is the way that you learn piano: is you take little bite-sized pieces, right? Maybe one measure, maybe and then you take another measure, and then you put it together. So we're kind of doing 2-measure phrases here. Okay, here we go. A flat major. Go G, C7. That's twice. Now to your F. Very good, and then twice on the F minor. And you can actually play the full F minor chord here, okay? So after the F, you can go punch twice on the full F minor with the F in the chord, and then twice on the D flat. Okay, not too bad. Okay, let's talk about the rhythm. Here's how the rhythm goes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the trick with this rhythm is you're playing in between the beats. I say this in many of my lessons, but we call this syncopation. It's a really important technique, syncopation. And that is where one of the hands, usually the right hand, sort of plays in between the beats. So the main beats are 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then between the beats would be the ands, 1 and 2 and 3. And that's what we're doing. It feels a little weird at first, but the more you do it, the more it'll feel a little more natural for you. Okay? So first chord, 1 and, okay, here it is again, 1 and 2, and, that's your G, 3 and 4, and, got the F on the and, okay? Once more, 1 and 2, and 3, go to the next measure. 1 and. That's your F minor. 1 and up. 1 and 2 and. There's your D flat major. Okay, do it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's the end of the phrase. Let's do that second measure again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's it. Let's put them together. Okay, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, that's it. That's the phrase. Let's do it a little faster. 2, 3, 4, 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and not too hard, not too bad. So play that a lot of times, right? We learn music by repetition, right? Every single person on the whole planet learns, I believe, through repetition and just becoming very comfortable with it and graining it inside. So just get that right hand nice and solid, okay? Let's talk about the left hand. And the left hand is what is actually playing the stride pattern. And stride is a very sort of loose term, which means you go root, chord, okay? We have this technique in ragtime, right? I'm playing a stride left hand, okay? You can do this in blues, you can do this in lots of different styles. So we're using a stride left hand in the style of gospel music, okay? So here's what we're doing. The way it works is you play the chord, the root of the chord, and then you go up to the chord. That's it. Okay, so in this case, the first chord is A flat major, so we go root, big octaves on the root, and then chord is here. This is E flat, A flat, and C. Okay, second inversion A flat major chord. Okay, there it is. Not too bad. Now, if that's too big of a jump, for a lot of people, it's kind of hard to get this technique. You can go A flat here, chord, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need to go to the big A flats down here. So if you're playing this on the faster side, you might want to use this higher A flat. Okay, just keep that in mind. You don't always have to go to the super low note for the root. You can go up to the higher note. Okay. The second one here is C7. This is a C octave, and we're going to use a full C7 here. This is C, E, G, B flat. Okay, let's do these together. A flat, there's the chord, C7, here's your chord. Okay, F minor, this is the next one. Okay, we're going to the F. We know it's an F minor chord, so we're going to that root F using octaves. That could be your F minor, this could be your F minor. You can use different inversions, I'll talk about that here in a minute. But the one I think I would use actually is this one, C, F, and A flat. Okay, that's a second inversion F minor. See that? And then your D flat, there's your big octaves there, up to your D flat major chord. This is D flat, F, A flat. The reason I like these particular inversions, well, for one thing, your F minor is here, and your D flat major is here. It's got a good, what we call voice leading, where you share notes, right? We're sharing notes between these chords. It just has a nice sound to it, okay? So kind of look for chords where the chords are somewhat nearby each other. But there's a general rule I actually want to share with you here, and that is, you know, a lot of pianists, a lot of my students will say, well, this is great. I love playing this stride left-hand pattern. I know the rule, which is root, chord, but where do I play the chord, right? Because you can play different inversions of chords. You could play an A flat major here, or here, or here, or here, or here, right? You can just keep going up. And the ideal range for the chords is right in the middle of the piano, okay? So ideally, the way I would play it is I kind of try to stay between a C and an F. That's my range. And this is middle C on the red dot. You want to stay right in the middle of the piano. And if you kind of keep this rule in mind, you can actually use any inversion you want, right? On the A flat chord, you could use here or here. Those are the two I would probably use, right? Same thing for C7. You can go here or here or here. It's up to you, right? It's jazz. You get to have fun with it. Okay, so kind of keep that little rule in mind when you're trying out different inversions. Okay, here we go. Chords again. A flat. That's your second inversion, A flat. Let's go to C7. Nice big C7, F minor. and then our D flat major. That's it. Okay. And you kind of want that to groove. So, you know, kind of practice that left hand, you know, try to get it maybe here. And that's cool. And you really want to get it to where you're not looking at the sheet music, you're not really counting it, you're just sort of feeling it, right? Right? Kind of feeling it. Okay, let's put the hands together. Okay, here we go. By the way, we're actually using the lower octave. You can play this groove in any octave. You'll notice at the beginning of this video, I played it in like 2 different octaves way up high. So we're starting in a lower octave, but just keep this in mind. You can take the right hand up the octave. Okay, here we go. Left hand, A flat, chord, chord. Okay, once again, A flat, chord, chord, G. Now, together, chord. See that? One more time. Okay, now F. It's by itself. This is measure 2. That's together. Chord. Once more. Okay, and then big D flat by itself. D flat octave by itself. Chord. Okay, so measure 2, your hands are sort of playing against each other. Okay, once more measure 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's the rhythm. Okay? Let's put both measures together. We'll count the rhythm now. Here it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And that is it. That's the rhythm. If you can play that, oh my gosh, you have like a huge portion of this groove down, all right? And then you want to speed it up, okay? So try it with me here, about a medium slow tempo. Here it is. Ready, play. 1. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this gospel stride groove. You can find the full-length groove on pianowithjonny.com, as well as my other gospel grooves. I have a whole collection in the Gospel Groove series, so be sure to check that out. Also, be sure to check out the Piano with Jonny membership. This gives you access to all of my video piano tutorials where I teach you songs and styles that you love. I teach you jazz, we talk about blues, ragtime, boogie, pop music, funk, Latin music, so many really great fun styles. You also get access to a huge selection of my sheet music. We do live monthly events where we do a workshop each month. You can interact with me, ask me practice questions, we do live Q&As together, and you also get personalized coaching with me. So be sure to check out the Piano with Jonny membership. It was a lot of fun for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.